Hi, everyone. Kelly here. And today I have Grace Clark from Grace's Music Studio. We're going to be chatting about how she developed an entrepreneurial mindset that helped her to triple her studio revenue and add 20 new students in the last few months, which is just wild and such an accomplishment. I'm so excited to talk about this with you today. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
And I'd love to just
of course.
kind of have you introduce yourself in the studio right away before we go any further.
I'm Grace. I have a clarinet, piano, and harp studio that I teach, and it's out of my house in my living room. I teach all ages.
It's a super fun combination, by the way.
It is. It is a very fun combination.
How did that come to be?
I agree. Yeah. It was the three instruments that I learned piano first and then harp and then clarinet because I wanted to be in band and I could never pick a favorite. So here we are.
It's fun to have variety like that too. I know we talked about this a couple of times.
Mhm.
It's sometimes just
Yeah.
especially clarinet player to clarinet player, when you're playing the exact same all state etudes over and over and over again
Over and
like
over
high
again.
school kids.
Yeah.
It can be a little redundant sometimes. So having other
Yeah.
variety and kind of keeping it fresh is always just a nice little treat
It's
too.
always nice. I know. I think that's the same for the same reason, even though I have sort of an ideal age student that I tend to go for. I love the fact that I currently teach from 3 to 71. So it's also I just love being able to have that variety. It keeps things interesting.
Yeah, one thing about musicians, we definitely like variety.
We do. We like to keep things I don't want it to be monotonous.
Oh my gosh, that's half the fun. What do you
Yeah.
think? Okay, other than the instrumentation,
Yeah.
what else do you think makes your studio rather unique, or like what type of ideal students do you typically work with?
Yeah. So I do tend to just go for variety. I like to have a challenge, and so I like taking on, new students, like the 3-year-old, or the older student. But I think just in general, my ideal student and most of my studio is made up of people who are taking lessons because they love music or because they find it, they want to learn because it's fun. They're not learning for this very specific strict reason. They're all just very, the parents are like that of my kids. They want, they're more, it's more important to them that their kid loves music than their kid becomes this crazy, really good piano player. And that's kind of where I thrive, right in that middle of just having fun.
You're for a good time. I love that.
Yeah.
It's something that it creates that kind of lifelong passion too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to stay with them. I think that's so important.
It's just good. And obviously it's still important to practice and, have progress and all of that. You still want to make progress because then it won't be fun. But but you want to do it. I'm okay if it's a little bit slower if we're also having a good time while we're doing it.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, so we've got obviously a huge passion for teaching. We were talking a little bit ago about how you found this in the last few years, and maybe teaching didn't start that way, but over the last couple of years, we've really found this groove, which has been so exciting. We knew we wanted the studio to grow more. So last fall, I know you were putting a lot of time and energy into this. You had tried a lot of things. What were some of the frustrations that you're running into trying to grow the studio independently?
Yeah, even when I decided, that I want to really put my effort into making this work and growing the studio, I was sort of stuck at between 8 and 10 students for 2 years. It was a really long time of just trying all these different things and never gaining any traction. And so I was kind of, when I found, O2B, I was just kind of in this place of almost not giving up, but almost feeling well, this just isn't going to work. This is obviously, not for me, or, something was wrong, in whatever I was doing. And I think I was kind of stuck with all of these, I have to pay for ads to get students, and I don't have the money to pay for ads because I don't have students. And so it was all of this weird, just going in circles, go and get nowhere kind of a place. Before I found O2B.
Well, it's hard. The paid advertisements, not only does it take investment that we, again, might not have in the beginning, which is very frustrating. Sure. Mm-hmm. Starts to feel a little chicken and egg, right? Like, I need students to pay for ads, I need ads to get students. I think the other thing that's really frustrating with the paid advertisement too is it still takes a lot of experimentation in the copy and the images, and we're not marketing professionals or musicians first. If you don't know how to write that copy or what's going to work really well, you're also just like experimenting with the revenue that you don't have, and that is also a scary place to be in that.
And there's no like guarantee that I know there's no guarantee for anything, but like, you know, I would put $100 into something and get nothing out of it, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to put any more in, because if that didn't work, then, you know, why would I expect 1,000 to work? So it was kind of this weird
money pit, right?
Yeah, it did.
We talked about this a couple times, I know, early on, that the organic marketing that we ended up doing for the studio and that's created all this growth, where we're not doing that advertisement. If the organic process isn't working, then when you go to put money into it, it just becomes a more expensive problem.
That's not working. Yeah.
So if you identify through other organic means, like even, for example, local social media posting, if you can find copy and things that are working, and that not only are they attracting students, but they're actually attracting students that you like working with and are a good fit, then it becomes a different conversation. So I think something you said a little bit ago before we started recording was there's a time and a place for it, but it was just not for me at that exact point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think, you know, maybe at some point it would be something, but I honestly, at this point, I'm like, other things work better, and I'm not saying it doesn't work, but yeah, it definitely was not at that time a good idea.
It's not a good feeling. It's definitely not a good feeling.
No.
Oh my gosh. Outside of student recruitment, were there any other areas that were frustrating for you in your studio at that point?
Yeah, I think that I think the frustration of not being able to grow my studio was sort of bleeding into how I was running my studio, if that makes sense. Because I was sort of like, now that I'm like, you know, I've got all this confidence of gaining, you know, I have a big studio now, and so I feel way more like energized to do the professional development and do, you know, all these like fun new things that I'm trying out for my studio. When I only had, you know, like 9 students, it was like, what's the point? You know? And so I kind of didn't have the energy to do anything fun, you know, and like change things up and like put time into my own, you know, professional development to grow the studio. So it was kind of just, you know, ended up making things worse, because I was, you know, of course that's not helpful for the studio. But yeah, it kind of bled over into that.
I wonder about the confidence building, because you mentioned that now. We talked about it a little bit earlier too, and how important this was to you. How it's helped you try new things, but also just impacted your teaching on a regular basis too. Why do you think your confidence has grown in the last few months? How does that come about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think part of it is just the OTP group is just like, I mean, all of you guys are just so encouraging, you know, and believe in like everybody who's a part of, you know, of this group. And, you know, the second I joined a Zoom call, it was like, let's like make this happen. Let's, you know, it was just this, it was energizing, you know, first of all. And it was kind of helpful too, to have this like community of like people helping me do all these things that before I was just kind of like too afraid to do, and again, didn't have the confidence to do. And, you know, to have someone say, well, no, let's just do that now. Like, let's just do it.
I've got 5 minutes.
Yeah. To get on a Zoom call and say, no, just send those like requests for testimonials, like is very helpful in getting me to do things. Yeah, a little bit of accountability, a little bit.
Oh my gosh. But those things are scary. Okay, like testimonials.
Yeah, they are.
An intimidating one, because you hope that everyone sends something really nice back, but also like,
I was terrified. Yeah.
What if they didn't like working with me? Yeah. Delusional. Like all those thoughts start to creep in. On the back end, that like, how did that go? I know we were nervous about it, but how did it go?
I was terrified to do it, and I got on a Zoom call, and yeah, they were like, let's just send it right now. Like, let's figure out the text you're going to send. We're just going to send it literally right now. I'm going to like make sure we do this. And I did. And within 10 minutes, I had someone write this like essay long, amazingly nice testimonial and put it up on my Google business page. And yeah, it was like immediately I was like, oh, this is this is great. I don't know. I put this off for 2 years.
It's feeling too, like, okay, not only do you get the feedback, which is it's helpful for our teaching. It's obviously helpful for our marketing. We've got proof that people like us, they want to work with us, we provide a good service, they're happy to pay for it, all that good stuff. It also kind of creates this little like social proof for yourself to build that confidence.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like when people are willing, not only that they write really nice things, but they're willing to do that they value you and appreciate you enough that they're going to take that time to sit down. It's just a very fulfilling thing to experience. Like, wow, there was enough of an impact here, or this relationship is strong enough that they're going to put things on pause for a few minutes and put this energy into me. And I think that it's a really, really cool feeling. It's something I think everyone needs to experience in their life. But also there's other ways we can kind of develop that confidence outside of just testimonial. Like we can have a little nice file of things that you're saving that make you feel that way to help build that confidence too.
Yeah. And it makes you want to put more effort. Like, I think that made me want to put more effort into making the studio really great. Cause I was like, well, if my students have that kind of confidence in me, then I want to like show up for them in, the best way that I can. So I think that was a nice little feedback loop, of
like pushing me forward. This way, and don't I want to be that version of or keep improving that.
Exactly. I want to keep that moving forward.
I love that.
It's great.
And it is like the self-fulfilling prophecy. I see a lot, when we talk about like the entrepreneurial mindset, starting to treat our business or act in our business in a way that we hope is our constant in the future, like that kind of future self mindset. I know people talk about a lot online or in motivational books and things like that. But I think there's something to that, like our policy, for example, making some tweaks to our policy that we know right now might not be mission critical, but if you have a full studio, it's going to feel a lot better to have a clear makeup lesson policy or to have uniform enforcement of policies. And I know that's something that we adjusted early on too.
Yes, that was very... I was just thinking the other day about how glad I was that we had like set up, like auto pay, which back in, January, I was like, that's fine. Whatever. But now I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that everything, invoicing is automatic, auto pay is all set up. It would be so hard if we hadn't done that way back when it was, smaller. Made a huge difference now.
From 8 students where autopay was like nice to have, not necessarily
nice, but fine. I can't even imagine if I was trying to still maneuver all of that. Not be fun. It would not be fun. It would take up my whole week.
Okay, so we're talking about these great results. We have 20 more students in the studio right now. Revenue has more than tripled. It's a really exciting place to be. How did we get there? Fill in the blanks for everyone that's listening. Like, that's a great transformation. What kind of things did make it happen?
I've been trying to pinpoint what, because I feel like I did, put in all this work on a lot of different things, trying to, make this transformation. And I have been trying to figure out what made the biggest impact. I do think that the testimonials, were huge, and just getting my Google business to have some like credibility because it was just not showing up before. And so putting the work in to make that, add photos, make it look credible, getting the testimonials, and kind of along with that, updating my website and getting that where I want it to be so people can, easily contact me to get lessons set up and it all looks professional and welcoming. And then also I think sort of this, having the recitals and getting my studio and me more out into the community as opposed to just, because I teach in my house. So it's like, it feels kind of just like I could just kind of keep everything here in my house. But having the recitals out in the community, and we've done it, at a retirement home and at the library, where we're really out and about, and then also then the parents are like excited and talking about it and, telling their friends, and it becomes, I wasn't having word of mouth before. And I think now, that has gotten a lot better because we're doing more things.
Yeah.
And making more connections. And then even just, not my studio, me by myself, getting out there more and like joining bands and joining music teacher groups in town, and making those connections has been really huge too. Just to kind of build. And I've done I think the social media piece for me hasn't, I think in terms of my studio, that hasn't been the biggest like student or revenue building avenue. And I think I've discovered that it really is just like like there's no one size fits all.
This is true. Yes.
Which is so true.
Yep.
And you kind of have to just try all the different, do all of them and then find which ones work for your location, for your type of studio, type of student and everything.
Yeah. It should look different because everyone's
because everybody's
style, pedagogical philosophies, like everything is different.
Yeah.
So I treat them all the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's been so cool to see. You've put a lot of work into this, obviously, over the last few months. This was not, it was not easy. It was not always linear and straightforward. We definitely had a lot of bumps in the road. What helped you keep going when it was challenging and get to this end result now?
I mean, I think it kind of like we talked about earlier, it was one of the first, I think the first like month or two was probably the hardest, obviously, because, I think everybody goes into everything thinking, I want this to happen tomorrow, and of course it doesn't. And so I think once I hit like March was when I started really seeing students coming in like crazy. And so at that point, I think it was easy to keep the motivation. But before then, it was mostly just like having those little like celebratory, like the testimonials, like having that happen and work really well, and that was such a good motivation to keep me doing all the like back end stuff that, isn't as fun and isn't as immediately rewarding. But having things like that and having a recital and then like just feeling really great afterwards about that and, making sure that you have these little moments of, celebration, of the studio to make sure, even though, even if I wasn't, getting any new students, I still like had those testimonials. I still had that recital. I was having these fun things that were making my studio better, even if it wasn't growing yet.
Well, it's wild. Like, I think I'm going to make a gross overgeneralization here for a moment, so please bear with me. I think it's really easy when we want something to change to wait and hope for motivation to strike.
Yes. Yeah.
In reality, what you're describing right now is that the action that was uncomfy and maybe a little awkward and new and definitely out of our comfort zone, the action is what created the motivation. Like doing things anyway, even if it was terrifying or it felt new and big and maybe even a little overwhelming sometimes. To have a little gentle nudge and some accountability of like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it right now. We're going to take the action no matter what. And that created a lot of that motivation and kept you going. Am I on the right track?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It created the momentum that I needed to keep going to eventually see. Yeah. I love that motivation is, the quote where it's like action, motivation doesn't, come from nothing or something.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so true. You have to do things first to get motivated.
Yep. And then it starts to take on a life of its own, right?
Yeah.
Rolling down the hill when you're a little kid, like it just starts to pick up some steam. All of a sudden,
March felt like that for sure.
How did we get here?
Yeah, that was a little overwhelming for a different reason,
Okay, so March and April, we have all these inquiries coming in.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but also it is
terrifying
a lot to handle.
Yeah, it was a lot.
How did you manage that when we did pick up steam and now everything is coming in all at once?
I do feel like I kind of had to put some of my like marketing stuff a little bit on the back burner. I had to kind of prioritize what was important in like March and April and June, because I was just having like new students every week starting. And I think I really just had to make sure I was really organized. And pick and choose the things that, what's going to help me in this moment to make all of this work, efficiently. What are the things, the small thing I can do this morning to make sure that, this new student, goes well today. So I think, continuing with that, like, I like to spend, like an hour or 45 minutes just first thing in the morning. And so, keeping that, keeping that time slot, but then sort of just shifting how I used it. And so it wasn't as, much of a policy marketing, time. It was kind of more spent on just directly to my studio and how it's operating day to day.
Yeah. And it felt like in the beginning, okay, so we get a lot of these students coming in, which is all very exciting. But then, as you said, we kind of put a lot of the marketing on pause.
Yeah.
So it's very common that we get a big uptick and then it stalls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big time, which we experienced.
Yeah.
Which is also frustrating because you're like, well, hold on a second. Like, this was just working.
Yeah.
What's different or why
is
it
yeah.
working now? Right.
Yeah, I do think that yeah, and I think I had to keep reminding myself that, just timing of year too. I had this huge uptick in students, like end of spring, beginning of summer, because I feel like that's kind of the time of year that my studio is just going to have the most inquiries, when all these students are young kids are off to summer and their parents are like, what are we going to do over the summer? And so I kept having to remind myself, okay, well, it's like the end of summer. No one's, people are getting ready for school. They're not looking into, starting a new activity right now. But yeah, it was a little frustrating to like see that and then feel like I kind of hit a wall. And I think that there's just kind of this, moving forward, just the longevity thing moving forward, I think I'm going to have to realize that different times of year are going to have different priorities. Maybe summer is a time when I just have to focus on, new students and whatever that, entails. And then maybe, beginning of the school year is when I can put a little more effort into the back end, the marketing, refreshing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And okay, I know that people listening right now, they're like, hold on a second. You say that you got most of your students over summer.
I know. It's weird.
And
it's not normal.
Like as Grace was saying earlier, okay, every studio is a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think part of it is like the environment that you create. Also, sometimes it's like, there's like the seasonality to it, but I think, again, because the seasonality that you're describing is very different than what I think a lot of other students experience.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's also like a personal seasonality. Like, I think one of the things that happened is we got this huge uptake of students. And as you said, like, okay, now I have to work with all those students and onboard them.
Yeah.
And there's no time, energy, and capacity to be doing marketing.
All the other things.
We're going to get a bunch of momentum and then it's going to dip for a second until I have the capacity to do more marketing to get it to pick up again. So in terms of inquiries and leads, this is very normal to be expected.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, it's not like you did anything wrong. But at a certain point, like, you get a bunch of work and you're like, now I can do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Well, and I know that like now that I had that huge, uptick in students and I, so I know that once I hit, now that I'm at this like higher level of students, I mean, I can't afford to I don't have like enough time for me to have another jump like that next year. Yeah. So I know that is not going to happen again. That type of overwhelm is, it was, hopefully just a one-time thing. Hopefully not lose like 20 students and then gain 20 students.
Well, and I know something we talk about so early on is how your capacity of work changes. Like when you have 8 students, you're all consumed by those 8 students because you're thinking so hard about what do I need to do to prepare? Like, what is the curriculum? What are the materials I need? Like, what other resources and music do I need to find and accumulate? And how am I going to plan for them? Or how am I going to enforce the policy and the communication? You have a smaller number, so you can get really hyper fixated on that small number of students and what every single individual needs. Not to say that we come to lessons less prepared.
Don't do that now.
More students, obviously, it's actually the opposite. Yeah. When you have more, because you're doing it on a more regular basis, it feels more routine. And then like having conversations about the business side of things or curriculum planning, because there's just so much more that you've experienced or experiencing on a regular basis, it starts to feel easier. like the teaching, and maybe I'm putting words in your mouth and I am, like, obviously, please correct me and tell me that I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
For me, when I had, 5 to 10 students, that was more overwhelming than when I had 30 to 40. Because it just felt old hat,
Yeah. Yeah, because you do
that too.
Yeah, because I feel like when you have that smaller studio, it's like every time you're having to have a specific conversation or address a certain issue with a student or something, it's the first time you're doing it, And so every time you're doing that, it's this huge deal that you're having to overcome, and you're having to figure out how to word it, it's this, giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very emotional. It becomes this huge thing. But yeah, if it's the 5th time you've done it, then it's just less of a, there's less pressure put on yourself when you're doing that.
I did it 4 other times and I survived.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still
exactly. Yeah.
They didn't hate me. They didn't quit. Yeah.
None of them hated me. So
you do have to, like, build up that proof for yourself, right? And it takes experience, repetition, and on the back end, it does feel really good, obviously, when
of course
things are going well. We know that they like us.
Yeah.
Okay, so business has improved. We're very obviously you're glowing and enthusiastic, and it's obvious just how much you're excited about the work that you've done and the studio growth and how much things have improved. How has this impacted life? Like, beyond just teaching, how has this improved life and work-life balance and just other career or personal decisions that you have experienced for yourself?
Yeah, I think, well, it's definitely helped with, not having 5 jobs and trying to make, ends meet. That's nice. The practical side of that is great. I know. I love that. Being able to focus on, my having teaching as my career choice, which is great. And so I think just, being able, even just that on its own is just helpful, because I have this one thing that I get to, like, put all my energy into, and then I can better have that work-life balance, because instead of saying, okay, there's, whenever I was second, I'm working a job and I can't, but now I'm able to say, okay, here's when I'm teaching and here's when I'm not. And it's just a lot more simple and clear in how to make that work. I can, divide up my life a little bit easier, which is nice. And I think also just being able to, I think along with that, sort of the confidence thing we talked about before, you being able to, like, tell people that that's what I do. I think I used to not tell people that was my job. When they asked me what I did, I would say one of my other jobs as, like, something that I did. Because it felt more, like saying, oh, I'm an office assistant. That sounds more official. That sounded more real, I guess, in my head for some reason. And having that mindset shift of now, when people ask me what I do, I tell them I'm a music teacher. I teach private lessons, and I get to talk about that, which is fun. Instead of, before, it felt like I had to apologize when I said I teach music, but, like, I only have a couple students, so, like, I don't really, it felt like this weird thing that I just didn't want to bring up, because I didn't want to have to, like, explain that I wasn't really a music teacher, even though I was.
Like you're faking it a little bit.
Yeah, it did. It was this weird thing where I felt like it wasn't a real job. And I think I was like, well, no one else thinks it's a real job, but, like, I wasn't, I think I was also not thinking of it as that, and it was maybe because I had heard that, but still, either way, changing that mindset for myself, I think has changed that, because now I can just go out and tell people I do that, and now everyone that I've talked to obviously believes that, because I believe it.
Like, okay, you go and you get degrees and you study and you practice for decades of your life, and then isn't it wild that we still don't feel
it's crazy.
Like, we don't it's such a strange,
I know. It's
phenomenon.
very weird.
I know you're not alone, and I'm sure people are listening right now, like, oh my God, that's me. Like, I feel that way right now. It's not abnormal at all. In fact, it's more normal than not. And it's frustrating, because you have put so much into it to feel so insecure, bizarrely.
It's crazy. I know. And I think it's something about maybe if I was like, oh, well, I teach at a school, maybe that I would, I would think that that was a real job, and something about like, it just like being something that I'm building on my own and no one's paying me made it feel less real. But yeah, again, it's just this like loop of you have to convince yourself that it is so that you can actually build it to be, what you want it to be full time.
Well, and I think sometimes it's a validation of like someone else hired me for a job.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So it's somebody else that I'm qualified and good at this.
Yeah.
So therefore I'm qualified and good at this. Like
Yeah.
there's proof. And okay, reflecting on that for a second, it's probably why the testimonials felt so dang good in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's the same validation of
it's the
someone
same thing.
Like they did hire you. They're paying you money willingly for this service.
Yeah. Like been hired by multiple people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be the opposite.
They like me.
Yeah.
They want to keep paying me money and they want right with the testimonials like that cycle is it's really important, I think. Like the taking care of yourself as a musician, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and building that mindset, as you've described beautifully in this conversation, is so important to the growth of the studio and the numbers and the data. Like one can't really exist without the other.
No. Yeah, it definitely, I think everything, even though obviously it was a lot of, actual work, like all the work that I put into it, a lot of it was that, but I think that I wouldn't have been able to do that as effectively or with the motivation and the energy that I had if I hadn't also done that mindset shift early on, and it was, I think that a lot of it wouldn't have been, as nearly as effective.
Did you think that was going to be the case going in, or was that?
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. I think in the beginning, reading out some like, I can't think of the word. It's like reading out these mindset, phrases and trying to like the affirmations. Yeah, reading out affirmations feels to me just so pointless, or it felt to me so pointless.
I'm lying.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, why am I just saying this out loud when I should be like working? I should be doing all these things. But yeah, it's huge. It's such an important thing because I wouldn't have had the confidence to go out and tell people that I'm a music teacher, if I hadn't convinced myself that I was a music teacher first. Or even to ask for the testimonials if I didn't have the confidence of believing that this is what I want to do, and I'm doing it. I am doing it. So
don't you wish sometimes, like I know that we build up these case studies for this exact reason, like don't you wish sometimes that past Grace could watch this interview with today Grace and just know that it all works out? Like see this version of you, because you're like so excited and clearly so proud of yourself, which you absolutely should be. I'm proud of you. Like you deserve this feeling. And wouldn't it have been amazing for Grace last winter to know that this is how it's going to feel and look and sound and like
that would be great.
It is a shift. Like it's not just
it is
business career, and that's amazing. We're very, very proud of that. Obviously, like
return investment
for very important. Money is very important.
Oh yeah.
You became a different version of you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm a different teacher, everything. Yeah. And also business owner, different. I run it differently.
I'm sorry, business owner?
Should I call myself that? What? Teacher and business owner?
Isn't that exciting? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, it's so cool.
Not something I would have said in December.
I'm just so happy for you. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go back to past Grace at that stage. We were frustrated. We were struggling. We were in that stuck place that we were describing earlier. How did you find out of the box, and how did you make a decision to take this fairly large leap and start working with us?
I think I initially found you guys on Instagram. I think it was. I'm pretty sure. And I remember the thing that really like got me was the fact, I think at some point you had said something about not paying for ads unless you fix the like underlying cause. And I had like just come off of being really frustrated because I think I had paid for, I don't know what it was, Facebook or, Google or something. I had just paid for some kind of ad, and I had paid some other service to like try and, put me all over the internet, and that did nothing. And so seeing you be like, no, don't do that. was really refreshing. It was refreshing to me to be like, oh wait, I don't have to do that. And there's things that I can be doing that's, not paying for this and doing all these things that aren't working. And so I think that was kind of what initially, convinced me to try this. It was just such a new, for me at least, it was this new approach, and I had been so stuck in things that were not obviously weren't working. I was ready just to try something different.
Yeah. And it was a big step. It was a big jump to do this.
Yeah.
Do you feel, I mean, obviously hindsight is 2020.
Of course.
Knowing what you know now about your experience, your growth, the things that we've learned, and what business looks like and how we're feeling right now, was it worth it? Like, was outside the box a good fit and a good decision for you?
Yeah, 1,000%. It was like, night and day, so much. And not even, again, like we've said, obviously I have a lot more revenue and a lot more students, which is amazing. But, that aside, I think just the change in having this really fulfilled studio has been massive. It feels a lot more like a studio and less like I teach 9 students.
Yeah,
huge.
It's exciting to see you take yourself more seriously, because you've deserved that all along. And just like step into that is just incredible. And I'm so glad that it's been a good experience. Obviously, we've loved working with you. It's just been so fun to get to know you and to see, again, like to see this version of you, like really see you blossom and see the studio grow, and everything that's come alongside that personally and professionally is just amazing. And I'm so stoked for you. I think jumping back one last time to you at that stage, maybe a 2-part question. Like, A, who do you think would be a good fit for Outside the Box? If someone's listening to this right now and is trying to decide, okay, it worked for her, but like, would it work for me? And will this be a helpful option? And then also, what else do you think past Grace needed to hear from what you know and have experienced at this point in life?
I think anyone who knows that this is something that they want to do, because I think even back when I was, stuck and like so close to ready to give up and, having this awful, in such a rut, even then, like I still knew that this was what I wanted to create. I was so determined to like make this work. So, I think that having that dedication to, building a studio is really important. And so anyone who's like, knows this is what they want to do, but is feeling stuck for whatever reason, I think anyone in that situation would be a great fit for OTB. And again, it doesn't, there is sort of this wide range of no studio is the same. No one size fits all. Obviously,
which is
I've discovered.
Like, that's a fun part of the community, but everyone's a different spot.
Everyone's different. Everyone's different place. Everyone's gonna go heading in a different direction and gonna take their own pathway there. But I do think that's kind of the, if you're just stuck and you need some kind of a breakthrough to get you headed, to get some momentum, I feel like is kind of the biggest thing that I needed. And I guess the big thing, I honestly, I feel like the biggest thing that I needed to do, to tell myself back then is just, sort of turn away from this. Like, I was so focused on gaining new students. I was so focused on, I want to get new students any way possible. I will pay money to this ad. Whoever can give me new students. I don't care who they are. I just need new students fast. And I think that it's hard to shift that mindset when you're in this place of, I do need money, I need this, I need income. But being able to shift that mindset to like actually focusing on building a really good studio, and then like the students they'll come, as you figure out what your studio is supposed to be, and not just taking anybody, in any way possible.
Having that, it's not just confidence, but having the it's a very conscious decision that you have to make, that I'm not just going to say yes to every opportunity. I'm only going to say yes to the things that are actually aligned and that feel like a really good fit. But as I know we've experienced in your studio, once you start to say yes just to those aligned opportunities and students, it just creates more aligned opportunities and more aligned students. And it spirals really quickly, because also the students that you're working with are getting the best possible experience with you. And then they're really excited to tell other people about that. As you're seeing with all your word of mouth. So oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. You are so deserving of all this growth and success. And I know you've worked so hard for it. So congratulations again.
Thank you. Well, thank you again. It's been amazing.
So good. Oh my gosh. Final parting thought before we wrap things up today. If someone's just kind of curious about Grace's music studio, where could they find you on the internet and just see what you do?
Well, my website is gracesmusicstudio.com. So that's probably the best place to find me and find out more about my studio.
Thank you for sharing your journey and being just really honest about all the growth and development that we've gone through. Again, so excited for you and so proud of you. And I'm so thankful for you to be here. You're sharing everything that you've experienced so that people can learn too. Thanks again, Grace.